Khachatryan, who is a new employee at Bellingcat. We hired her to work on stuff in the Caucasus mostly. She's from Armenia. And Artem Torchinskiy, who is coming from the anti-corruption fund FBK, Navalny's group, and he gave the question earlier. So now Artem will come up first, talking about some of the work that he's done with FBK, the Anti-Corruption Foundation, related to Sochi Olympics 2014. And then Narine will be talking about an ongoing project about the largest mining project, a gold mine in Armenia, and some potential issues that can come on and the ongoing monitoring situation.
Okay, it's hard to believe that 3 years ago we don't know about invasion in Ukraine, invasion in Syria, and so on. It was the brilliant time for Putin's regime. The Olympic game in Sochi was the brilliant in the crown. And I tried to find all the money that Russia spent to this event. How many people in the auditorium has a financial background or accounting background? One? Okay, I apologize. It's very not very interesting for you, but of course I hope it will be very interesting for all others. First, how I can, oops, presentation. Okay. Could you put a presentation on the screen? Oh, okay. Official cost was about, Vladimir Putin says it, official cost of Olympic game is only $6.5 billion from the federal budget. Okay, and at the same time, in official documents, we have 6.5 billion from federal budget to Olympstroy and 2.6 billion dollars from federal budget to the region, because we have 3 levels of budget: federal, region, and municipal or cities. So, okay, already money that Putin and official documents are not connections. And the third thing that is very important, that Mr. Anton Siluanov, the Minister of Finance of Russia, said 12.7 billion from the budget. Okay, twice higher than Mr. Putin. It's not only about money, it's about the management of the country when the Putin, as a president, doesn't know correct number. And the second statement of Anton Siluanov is 27.3 billion from the private sector. And he says, I'm a Minister of Finance, I don't care about private money, they spend as they wish. Could we get to the presentation? Sorry. Okay. Okay, we try to figure out all this money from the sources, because we could prove if any figures. Federal budget law, regional budget law, annual reports of all own state companies, special government program to infrastructure development, like Boston Big Dig or something like this, and one else. Who knows what could, when we should look, if we try to find finance. Annual reports, federal budget, what else? What is one very important thing we could it's called bond prospectus. When we see any project that finance from debt, look to the bond prospectus. It's very hard to read, but a lot of very interesting information. Okay, the next. Start with federal budget. There are 5,000 pages for each year in the law of federal budget. If you read it, you will be crazy. But it's very funny that there is a budget classification code for each number in the budget. It contains okay, good. Not good. Okay. Budget classification code has some system. It contains administrator of this money, type of... Okay, good. Так, like?
The green one?
Cost. Why it's next? Okay. Так, it's already done. So, federal budget. Okay, budget classification code has a lot of numbers, and it's about administrator of this budget, type of spending, for example, for the salary of staff, for the capital expenditure, goods and services, consulting, and so on. And the main things, project code. You try to figure out the project code by just search, for example, Olympics. In several budgets, you find that budget code for this project is 5500. And then you try to trace all this code in all documents. And you find $25 billion only in federal budget for the 7 years. So it's 4 times higher than Mr. Putin and 2 times higher than Minister of Foreign or of Finance. And one more, 1.1 billion in regional budget. So it's the question to the quality of Minister of Finance and the quality of Russian government. Then we look to the annual reports of state-owned company, because of course if Gazprom spends some money, it's not only it's not a private money of Gazprom, because it's a state-owned and state-controlled company. Or, for example, Russian railroads, it's already 100% owned by government, and this money are not private. And we find $10.5 billion company spent, except budget transfer from the federal budget to this company. They add $10.5 billion by another sources, like tariffs. If you pay bills for electricity, you buy tickets for railroads, you pay for the Olympic Games. Внешэкономбанк loans. It's a special organization that has called bank, but in fact they have no bank license, and their reports are very strange, and there is no information about financial Olympic game on their website. Then we go to the information of Russian bond issues. Внешэкономбанк issues bonds, and we try to figure out something in the report. No information about Olympic Games. And then, thanks for the British law, if you issue bond on the under British law in the Irish Stock Exchange, you disclose all information about main project in your bank, and you find $7.6 billion that a Внешэкономбанк, fully state-owned company, invest in Olympic game in Sochi. It's 77% of private project total cost. There is, and more now they think that all these projects are bad and debt will be disappear. We, as a taxpayer, we lost this money. Okay, now we call it formula of Olympic Games. 26 billion direct from federal budget, 10.5 million from the state-owned companies, 7.6 billion from Внешэкономбанк loans, 1.6, only 1.6, less than 4% are going from the private money. And what the Putin says, 6.5. The difference, it's 7 or 8 times. It's the quality of Russian government. And the hints for all investigators in finance. Bond prospectus. It's very important. It's go to the New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, Deutsche Börse, try to Irish Stock Exchange, try to find issues like bond prospectus of companies that operate your project. Or, for example, if EBRD or IMF finance this project, go to the website, try to find bond prospectus. In each country, you have budget classification code, no exception. In Armenia, in England, in the US, in your community, there is a budget classification code. You can find a lot of information by you just learning how this system works in your country. It's very simple to, like in Russia or in Germany, because you have operator of the project, you have type of spending and so on. And of course, annual reports. That's the end. Okay. Any questions? It's about money. Yep. Okay, sorry. Oh, yep. You're welcome, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Narine Khachatryan. I work with Bellingcat since June the 1st this year. And today I'm going to speak about a project I'm currently working on. It's, yes, this is it. I've been following this case for quite a while now, and since starting to work with Bellingcat, it's become more, there are more opportunities for me to explore it further. So, yes, so the Amulsar gold mine project. It's Lydian International is a Canadian company which was established in 2005, and it began exploratory works in a mountain in Armenia, which is called Amulsar, and is located in some 12 kilometers away from the southern spa town of Jermuk, and a few kilometers away from residential small villages. They began exploratory works there in 2006 and planning to begin construct. And then they submitted some social and environmental impact assessments to the Armenian government. And after several years of these social impact assessments, they got a go-to and began construction at Amulsar in 2015. So they plan to begin full operation at the mine in 2018. And the mine life is going to be about 12 years, finishing at about 2030. So during this time, they plan to extract some 8 tons of gold, yes, and they're going to bring some huge money to the Armenian state budget through taxes and royalties, about 488 as far as I remember, yes. And annually, through the whole mine life, and annually they are going to bring about 185 million of the dollars to the state budget, which is about 1.4% of the annual GDP of Armenia. So, except for these social and environmental impact assessments submitted by Lydian, the Armenian government hasn't actually, the Ministry of Nature Protection has not actually conducted its own impact assessments to see if the mine is actually going to be dangerous, which I assume it is, to the environment or the human health. Yes, and they have just taken this Lydian word that they are going to take all safety measures and to mitigate any risks for the environment and the people. So what they're going to do is they're going to use this process called heap leaching, and in which they use cyanide to process the minerals and eventually extract the gold from the ore, which is cyanide heap leaching is a quite common practice in gold and silver mining in the industry worldwide, and the mining operators, they usually claim that it's safe, that they are taking all precautions to ensure there are no hazardous consequences, etc. But actually, with the Amusar case, the cyanide heap leach facility they have purchased is located only a kilometer away from a residential area in a small village called Gandevas. Yes, and arguably it's going to cause, if there are any leaks, it's going to cause really bad damage to the wildlife, the environment, and the human health. There have actually recently been a few cases that of cyanide leaks in, for example, Danube, in Colorado, in Romania, in Argentina, and in a number of other places that the operators had also claimed that it's safe, that they had taken all measures to mitigate these dangers. What I would like to talk about is what at Bellingcat we usually use, what tools or open sources to monitor such type of cases, and what we can do is take satellite imagery and cross-reference them with maps or other images submitted by these companies, by the mining operators through their annual reports or other official documents they have to, they are supposed to release periodically. Yes, and also by engaging with some local communities and private organizations monitoring the cases on the ground. So where we can find documents, official documents on the projects they are conducting is we can go to the relevant databases, national, like for the countries, for Lydian, for example, that because they are registered in the British offshore, but they are at the same time they are a Canadian company. We can find any documents we want on CEDAR, which is the Canadian database for official documentation submitted by companies, this type of companies. And for the British, we just go to the company's house, and there we can also find financial annual reports or even documents like press releases after board meetings and such. Yes. So if you, for example, are interested in a specific country that different country, and for your own researchers, you can go to the investigative-dashboard.org, and there you can find documentations on like Polish or Canadian or any other country you wish. And also we can monitor the official websites of the benefit of the sponsors and funders or the shareholders of the companies. For example, as same as Artem, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development actually is a shareholder at Lydian, and it has provided like over $10 million to the project. And so Lydian Lydian is supposed to submit regular reports to the European Bank, which in turn is supposed to release this on its official website. Yeah, so we can also track the documentation and releases through this type of links. And once we collect all, beneficiaries or sponsors, funders, or company management representatives, we'll need a tool to, bring them together and show the links more obviously. So for that, we can use the OCCRP's Visual Investigative Scenarios tool, which we can find on their website, and yes, and we can do this. So there we have Lydian in the center, and if we go, to the top, we can find their sponsors, their funders, and if we go there, we can see their local, like regional managers, project managers, or directors, and we can also find their specialists who conduct the social impact assessments or other types of, jobs for Lydian. Yes, and satellite monitoring. Obviously, we can, find, once we find some, detailed technical or detailed maps in their official documents, such as this, which incidentally is the location of the heap leaching facility near the Gundavaz village, we can go to Google Earth and try to find the image. So this image was taken in 2010, which we found on Google Earth, and yes, this is, we cross-reference this with the map, and yes, this is. So this one was taken in 2016, so it's quite an impressive tool to show how the area has been impacted by the mining operations in like the 6 years period. Yes. This one is the site of the mine operation itself, and this is the satellite image we found, and that was taken in 2009, and this one was taken in 2016. Yes, but in addition to Google Earth, we can also use Planet Explorer, which you'll need to request access for if you want to find images there. But it's actually, in Google Earth, we managed to find only like 2 images for a 6 years period. But what's noteworthy that is on Planet Earth, we actually found 21 satellite images for the month of June, for the last month, for the month of June of 2007 alone. So yes, this is quite a useful tool also if you wish to monitor these types of cases. Yes, this one, the picture on the left, was taken actually last month, and we found it by using Planet Explorer. Yes. So yes, that's. I'll just conclude now, saying that, well, digital monitoring is of course important, but we'll need. I guess what I'm trying to do is I also try to get involved and engage with the local environmental organizations, activists that monitor this the Amulsar project in Armenia, and just try to cooperate and exchange the tools, the sources we use to do our research. And there are a number of organizations that engage in such activities, such as the Pan-Armenian Environmental Front, which I'm currently cooperating with, and also the one example is the Ukrainian Eastern Human Rights Group, which is monitoring the Goldmines operations in near the separatist self-declared republics that are, exploiting panel labor in gold mines. So yes, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so any questions for either Artyom or Narine?
Time for 2.
We have 2 questions. Time for 2 questions.
I'm Anastasia Nani from Republic of Moldova. Artyom, we admire the work Anti-Corruption Foundation does in Russia because we have a lot in common when it comes to corruption schemes. In Moldova, investigative journalism is still alive thanks to grants offered by EU or USA. I would like to ask you, how do you survive in Russia when it comes to money?
It's the worst question to Alexey Navalny, why he's still alive. I don't know, but first, we are not get any grants. We are supported only by people in Russia. We have about 20,000 people, and our budget about less than 1 million in a year. And the median sum of the grant, it's not grant, it's about $15. It's very small, but we are very independent from the government or on any fund or organization. We depend only on our supporters. And it's given us very quick feedback. If we get a very good investigation, we get a huge increasing in donations. And it gets us very fast. If we go to the wrong direction, in 2 or 3 weeks we get decreasing of donations. And it gives us very quick feedback, and we improve our movement or improve our management or improve something else. We are very small, and a lot of people support us by volunteering. I have no salary in this fund. I volunteer and just we believe that Russia is not a Putin. I apologize for our Ukrainian friend that Russia invasion in the Ukraine. I apologize for Syrian because Russian people doesn't know the film from Syria. They don't know how people under airstrike feeling, and we think we could change it. We could change Russia to the normal democracy. And okay, some of my friends are in prison, but I still in freedom. You know.
I think we have time for one more question. Going once. Going twice. Oh, okay.
Okay, Artem, it's here. Hello. Hi.
Hello, sorry.
Just so you came up with this amazing figure, 45.8 billion.
It's the most expensive Olympic game in the history of the world.
Of humanity, all right. And what did you do with that? What happened afterwards?
It was a landing about Olympic Games. It's about 1 million visitors 3 years ago, and for us, 3 years ago, it was a huge success. We have published in all Western media, New York Times, and so on. In Russia, we have about 1 million visitors, and we tried to promote message there is no government money. It's always taxpayer money, and we try to that if the government try to build a stadium, how hospitals or how schools or how roads you could build on this money. And we figure out that a lot of Russian cities have no small stadiums, has no enough schools and so on. It's the message that there is no government money. It's your private taxation. Yeah. In the microphone, please. I don't hear you. I'm football championships. It was a very good investigation of Norwegian journalist. I don't remember the correct name. He found that the North Korea workers work in the St. Petersburg Stadium, and of course, I think the stadium cost 2 or 3 times higher than a normal. And one more question.
Just wanted to know about any reaction the company of the Goldmine. What have they said? What have they improved any practices? Have they beaten anyone up?
Yes, so the company, it was established in 2005, and they have no prior experience in mining whatsoever. Yes, they say that they have taken all precautions, that there is the tailings and the waste from the mine is not going to go into the nearby water resources, that they are going to turn, actually this spa town, Jermuk, they are going to turn it into a miners town, which means they are going to bring in around 1,000 workers, and they are going to live there for the duration of the mine life, which is about 11, 12 years. So all the resorts or the hotels are going to be turned into homes for these construction workers, which is, they say it's going to be really financially beneficial for the town's development and etc. And they also claim they are going to conduct women's empowerment projects to, assure that because there are going to be a lot of single men with money that is going to cause drug use, prostitution, etc. They ensure they are going to take all precautions and empower women and make sure that there's no dangers for them. But it's so far it's only been just words. There have been no such programs initiated or taken into action. So yes, they claim that they're going to conduct responsible mining. So we'll see how that goes. No other reaction, I guess, for them.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.